Is it time? Yeah, it's time. Welcome to the True Craft Podcast. I am your host, Chris Farman, and I'm joined by co-host Katie Noel. This time around, we are all about one thing: killer conversations with close friends about the state of craft. Oh, it's going to be good. I hope to open the box on fresh topics while honoring the path that got us here. Let's do it. And we're back to another episode of the True Craft Podcast. Today we have the, as usual, lovely Katie Noel pimping in her van.
As always.
In your van. Where are you? Where are you today, Katie?
I'm in Los Angeles.
Ooh, sounds so awesome. I love visiting Los Angeles. Let me get to our guest, because we can talk about van life at another time. Today, we have a very special friend of SBS. I've known this guest for a couple years now, and I really feel that we work lockstep, side by side, when we're dealing with customers. She takes it from a marketing angle. We bring it from a financial angle. Most of you know her because she has such a strong marketing and social presence. Welcome, Julie Rhodes, from Not Your Hobby Marketing, to the True Craft Podcast. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you. I'm
Welcome.
stoked to be here. I'm stoked. Not only what is that? I'm not a first time caller, but I'm a long time listener.
That is correct.
Yes.
That's correct. And if Katie didn't stop us, our pre-recording chat would have gone on for another hour.
Absolutely.
Well, I just wanted to move the chat where we could share all this good stuff with the world, Chris.
I know. I know.
It was
like a pre-recording catch up is what it is what I call it, because we haven't talked in a minute.
Pre-game.
How are things going, Julie? What's up?
They're great. On the road right now, so not at home. Normally I am in snowy Colorado. Right now I am in Texas, which is, it's in the 70s, a little bit of a departure for me right now at this time of the year. But things are good. I'm about to head to Austin to talk to the folks with the Texas Craft Brewers Guild, and headed back home. But yeah, things are good. We're in an interesting time. I don't have to tell you that as far as beverage alcohol goes, but for the most part, I don't know. Kids are not failing out of school. Husband's good. Skiing a lot. I can't complain.
Sounds like the life.
I'm very content right now. And I'm excited to be here. So thank you for having me again. Because yes, this kid, Katie might have to rein us back in, because you and I could go
I know.
Yeah.
Let's get into meat and potatoes of today. We want to talk marketing.
Yes, marketing.
Which is your specialty.
That is my specialty. And I know I'm biased, but it's also a really good time to talk about marketing right now.
It really is. Why is it a good time?
Everything is on sale.
Okay.
Okay, here's my thing about this. You want to invest in the stock market, right? You want to do well. When do you buy stock?
When stuff's low.
When it's down.
Yeah.
Cheaper, right? When it's on sale. So that you hang on to it, and then it's worth more.
Right.
So what do you do when craft beer hits a valley? Right? Instead of a peak, like we're having trouble.
Yeah.
And I know you had kind of prefaced this a little bit. When do you double down? You better double and triple down on marketing right now. Because it's down. Or the market's down.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's some categories that are up right now, but for the most part, people aren't quite drinking as much as they used to. We know the story, 2020, drinking habits, Gen Z, all that. I can throw in all the cliches right now. I could, but people have heard them before. They've heard them on the show, so I won't go into that, but we're in a down spot. So what can we do? We can reinvest you know, like get strategic, right? Get your house in order, get your backyard in order, and take advantage of the really great deals that you can get on digital right now, because that is the best bang for your buck at the moment. It's ideal for small business owners.
So
It's
that's
perfect.
your big rec. Your big recommendation right now is digital. So
Absolutely.
can you dive
Yep.
into that? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, for sure. So, social media, right? Big one. Email marketing. Email marketing's not dead. Don't tell me that. I'll come at you real fast.
I agree.
Yeah. um, Text message, SMS, text marketing. Little bit of print, more so for wholesale than consumer, a little bit of taproom print stuff, right? That's always good to have. Um, Advertising. Ooh, alert, alert, alert. Like if you take anything away from this episode, digital advertising, just like write it down and put it in like a on a big post-it note on your computer. Invest in digital advertising. Absolutely.
So let's stop there for a second. Would digital advertising include a call to action with each sort of post, or give us some examples of digital advertising?
Okay. So this can be, first of all, it's multifaceted, right? So you can say digital advertising, but it's kind of like a big dump truck and you got to separate out the pieces, if that makes sense, like recycling, right? You can't just throw it all together. So you got to separate it out. There is social media ads. So like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all that stuff, LinkedIn, things like that. You have digital billboards, right? Old school billboards, but you pay less, right? Because it's like it rotates, right? It's in a digital format now instead of print, lower cost, right? And then you have streaming, or it's got a fancy name, and I'm having a senior moment and I can't remember the name of it, but it's I think it's something along the lines of like programmable digital, something like that, right? But this is your streaming channels: Hulu,
Mm,
Netflix, Pandora, Spotify, Prime. You know what I mean? All those things, right? So like different, you know, and then you've got PPC, so pay per click, Google ads, Bing ads, browser banner ads. Did you know that you had that many categories in digital advertising?
I didn't.
I didn't
It's a
realize
whole
you do like
menu.
streaming platforms. I think I knew all of them except like I can't picture the process of getting my like ad on Netflix or something like
It's,
that.
well, here's the thing. I am a victim of my own teaching, in that I pay more for my streaming channels so that I don't have ads. So I have to vicariously consume them through people that have lower tier accounts so that I can see what they actually look, which
Yeah.
is silly, but I use my husband for that. We just use his email address for that, right? For like the freebie stuff so that we can see ads. Now, it's mostly larger brands on major networks like Netflix and, stuff like that. But you can do short form video ads on streaming channels. You just have to be very careful. You have to be well researched. You have to make sure that you're using the right verbiage, that you're using the right media, that you meet their specifications, and that also there's like an age gate piece to it as well. Um, there are, I would say, for anybody who is thinking about doing this, it's great. You're on the right track, right? It's definitely something, because we have to get people excited about like craft beer again, right? It's not exactly like the number one choice. So we have to reach new audiences. Well, how can we do that? Like let's double down on digital advertising. Let's put it in places that it hasn't been before, Um and but it's also a pretty big learning curve. So I would say anybody that's interested in like actionably getting into this, maybe start with like like an agency, or like a 1099 contractor, like somebody that specializes it, and let them do it first and take your time to learn it. Just pay for the convenience and the know-how, because it's very nuanced and you don't want to get in trouble,
Yeah.
because we have the age thing. You know what I mean? we're restricted goods. That's what they call us. So I just don't want anyone to get in trouble. I would say get an expert first and then teach yourself how to do it over time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Katie, were
Now
you
that
going
you
to ask
mention that,
about restricted
I've
goods?
definitely seen some local. I've seen some local ads on streaming networks now that you mention it, because we do some. Uh, we have some subscriptions where we are pay for no ads, and then others where we do. We
Right.
have the ads, so we're kind of a 50-50 family. But no, that makes complete sense. That's awesome. That's great.
I'm a big fan of YouTube ads. I'm very
Mm.
like pro YouTube ads right now because it has a very nice algorithm. And unlike TikTok, it can be properly age gated. So to make sure that it's going to people that are of age safely.
Which seems extra important for the type of industry we're working with.
Yeah, it is. And you know, I'll be the first one to say like I stay on top of TTB policies and updates. They are behind on advertising policies, but digital moves very fast. You know what I mean? And think about how antiquated a lot of our alcohol regulations are. So you can imagine they're trying to play catch up as quickly as they can with giving people like best practices and letting them know what they can say, what they can't say. You might have seen that with like text message marketing and like the what is it called? Shaft content, like that acronym.
Mm.
It's like firearms, tobacco, alcohol. It's got a couple other
Oh, I see. Yes, yes, yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's that same idea of restricted goods. So there's like an age, limit on it, or it can only be served up to certain age groups, like the content can only be consumed by it. So you just you got to watch yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So YouTube streaming are on the top of your list, and you just to recap, you recommend that breweries that are interested in this get together with an agency. Maybe they bought they bought a block of time, so they maybe could cut you a little bit of a deal on the media spend. If you have someone in house that does the recording or the videography, maybe you could supplement some of that. Like, what have you seen work as far as putting the content
There
together and rolling it out?
So there's different levels. If you feel totally uncomfortable with digital marketing, I would just go, I would maybe look for like a local agency that understands your neck of the woods, right? Like your backyard. And see if they do sort of a standalone like digital advertising package. That means that they'll manage your media spend and they'll make sure it goes to the right places. And then they'll work with you on creating content, but they have the right like copywriting skills. They know what
Yeah.
photos and videos resonate with people. They have, you are going to pay a little more, right? Because that's knowledge, that's expertise.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll have the comfort of knowing like it's not totally in your hands, that they're managing that for you. The other way that you can go is that if you feel a little bit more comfortable with creating content yourself or writing sales copy with appropriate call to actions and
Mm-hmm.
CTAs and hashtags, and you feel comfortable with maybe like audience targeting, which is the other piece of why digital advertising is so powerful, by the way, if you want to talk about that. um it's very effective, right? If you feel a little bit more comfortable with that, if you have somebody that does marketing on your team, they could probably DIY it themselves quite a bit. But there's also some online services. There's one in particular that I'm just getting familiar with, so I can't totally like endorse them completely, but not a bad thing to look at. It's called Ad Critter, like critter, like squirrel.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I don't get anything from them, but it's a platform for small business owners where you can kind of curate, you put your content in there and then it helps you push it to the right channels
Oh,
for a
wow.
very like low monthly price, which is really nice. So there's like 3 different levels that you could go to,
Sure.
yeah, I think it's really accessible though.
When you speak about marketing and you speak about this stuff so eloquently, are you talking about breweries using this for their wholesale business or their taproom business?
Both.
Both.
We're
Okay.
doing it
Tell
for
us
both.
more.
Yeah. I always tell people if you are selling in wholesale, you need to have sort of a two-prong attack to marketing, right? You need to have B2B, which is business to business. So you're selling to accounts, right? Selling to businesses. And B2C, which is direct to consumer. And I'm not talking about e-commerce. I'm just saying across the bar,
Sure.
in the tap room, or if you're doing self-distro, whatever it is. But those are two different audiences that have two different separate sets of needs. And the way that you speak to them and the things that you show them about your brand are going to be a little bit different. Right.
Yeah.
Also, if I'm local and I want to go to Katie's tap room, right? And she's inundating me with emails. If I am local and I can go to the tap room and it's all about tap room events, that's awesome. That meets my needs, right? But if I live in Colorado and Katie's tap room is in Oregon and she's pelting me with emails about taproom events, I'm going to be like, well, I'm out, unsubscribe. Right. That doesn't apply to me. Right. So you have to kind of tailor it. Same thing with wholesale. If I'm a liquor store buyer, right, I don't want your marketing emails. I don't want your newsletter. I get enough emails in my inbox. That's not tailored for me. Right. But if it comes from a sales rep, a supplier sales rep, and it's very tactical. Hey, I'm from Julie's Brewing Company. This is what I have in stock. This is the wholesaler that you need to order it from. Here's the pricing. Here's a UPC. Oh, that's awesome. You just met my needs as a business owner. Totally different ballgame, right? So you have on two different levels. So if you have that wholesale component, know that you almost have to have, I don't want to say two different marketing plans, but know that you have two distinct, in addition to audience segmenting, right? Or like finding your target audience just for your brand in general, you're going to have a segment for wholesale totally by itself.
Well, it makes sense because you have practically two different businesses that function completely differently. So of course you're going to need to attack them differently.
Yeah.
I hope people listening with both sides already are thinking about that. But if they're not, now's the time.
Thank you. Yes, I hope they do, because you just kind of have to take a step back, get out of your echo chamber, right? As an owner or an operator or a team member, and just think about it like, if I'm the customer, if I run the account, if I run the bar, what do I need? And what would I want to hear from somebody else, right? Or if I'm Julie consumer and I'm a, having a get together with my friends this weekend, and I'm like, where do I take them? Or, oh, what do I need when I go to the store? What would I need to know beforehand? What do you have in the market? Where do I buy it? How do I buy it? What does it taste like? You know what I mean? Like, what occasion should I drink it for? So stuff like that. I think it's really just about, like, you're not marketing to yourself unless you're buying all your own products, which is dumb. That's
Right.
stupid. Nobody does that.
And then your marketing budget's zero because you don't need to market because you're all
zero.
buying.
You don't have to market to anybody. You can just make everything for yourself. Problem solved. Like, yeah, we're done with business 101. But it's, you're not marketing for you. You're marketing for others. So you have to remove yourself and like put yourself in their shoes and think about what their needs are. I tell people to sell like a consultant all the time. Think about what that person needs, right?
Yeah.
What they need, what are they looking for? Hopefully that makes sense.
Question. Am I allowed to use the term customer profiling, or is that not a good term?
You can. I mean,
Is audience targeting and customer profiling the same thing?
they're the same thing. Target audience. You also hear customer persona, customer profile, target persona. There's like a million different. But what I usually hear these days, because we're trying to like modernize and make things more inclusive, is target audience or target audience segment. That's another one, audience segment. This is interesting, right? Because again, you have kind of this like two-prong approach, right? You have people that buy your stuff all the time, right? Maybe it's like ages 25 to 44 who live in Jacksonville, Florida, and have a medium income of 100,000 or more, or whatever it is, right? Those are demographics. That is a very old school marketing concept, right? Like age, income level, education level, geography, all that stuff. Now we have to go further than that. I'm not a huge fan of demographics, by the way. As long as you're 21, cool. You know why? Because alcohol is, what do they call it? Like a normal good. I don't need it to survive, right? It's my discretionary income. If I want it, I'm going to buy it. Like if
Yeah.
I want it and I don't want a dozen eggs, I'm going to put the eggs back. I'm going to get a 6-pack of beer. You know what I mean? Like that's, and just because I live in a certain part of town or make a certain amount of money or I went to school somewhere, is not going to change my purchase preference, right? Like my desire. So we need to go further and look at what's called psychographics. Psychographics goes into the psyche of the consumer, the customer, right?
Wow.
So what are my hobbies? What are my interests? Do I like to go hiking? Do I go fishing? Do I barbecue a lot? Am I a foodie? You know what I mean? What are my purchase habits? Do I like a good coupon? Do I like a discount? Do I want a 2 for 1? You know what I mean? Do I respond well to sales? Like, do I not care about price? Is price not an issue? I pay for quality and I don't care. Premiumization, I can't ever say that word. Y'all know what I mean.
Yeah.
Goals, desires, values,
Hmm.
philanthropy, we see that a lot in alcohol now, is that like what's important to me. So I'm going to spend money where I think things are important or they make me happy or it's something that I like to do and it fits my lifestyle,
Mhm.
right? So looking at that, we can actually discover new audiences. Like, yeah, we want to hold on to the regulars, right? Like what that looks like, right? But we can't totally grow our business 100% based on the people that we're already selling to, because eventually, look at what's happening with craft beer. They're going to age out. The new people are going to come in. It's just a different set of rules, right? So we gotta pivot a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Like Ross from Friends. Pivot. Like, you have to pivot over to, um, you know, uh, what am I gonna do with this beer? Am I gonna throw it in my backpack and go skiing? Am I gonna take it to a friend's barbecue? Am I gonna pick up your variety pack because I think it's got a good spread and it might fit everybody's tastes? Like, I don't know what everybody likes to drink. You know what I mean? Is it for a day at the pool? Do I take it to a football game? Like, what do I do? Right. So, um, showing people that in your marketing, like occasion led drinking, interests, people in your visuals that are doing the things that you do. It's like, oh, representation matters.
Mhm.
Wow, imagine that, right? Like I can see myself I can see myself in the place of that person drinking it and using it, utilizing it, which is ultimately what we're doing with alcohol, like meta wise. And so if I can see myself doing that, I'm going to think about that product at the point of purchase when I need to buy something.
Yeah.
Which is, if you think about it, this will really blow your mind. This is why influencer marketing works so well, right?
Yeah.
Normal person doing
Mhm.
what you do, interested in what you're interested in. They do serve a purpose. It's somebody that might look like me that maybe I've never heard of that brand, and I'm like, oh dang,
Okay,
I
I have a
trust
question.
this person. Yes, go
So
ahead.
when you're speaking about target audience, would you say as like a business owner or someone who's trying to do this for their company that you are looking to understand your target audience, or are you more so kind of creating your target audience based upon how you market?
I love your questions, by the way. I listen to this podcast all the time, and I'm like, Katie just comes out of left field with like,
Well, thank you.
that's a really good question. No, that is a very good question. So, I think, um, at first you're looking for like new ones and new opportunities, and then, um, what you kind of find out through trial and error, and you don't know unless you try first, right? Like at least like give it a shot. Worst case is that person rejects you and then you're back to zero. Who cares? That's also my attitude about sales, by the way. I'm one of those people, like, I might as well ask. Worst case is that I hear no and then I'm back to where I started. Who cares?
It's true.
So try something new, try to get out of your comfort zone and find like a different audience segment, and if it resonates, then you can research, right? Then you go into investigation mode, like, okay, great, this really hit with young millennials in the Pacific Northwest, that like to go hiking. How
So
else
me.
can I reach them? Yeah, I know.
So
Wait a
it's
second.
me.
I just, you know what's funny is that I totally said that randomly and I was like, wait, that's Katie.
I've been targeted. I'm the audience.
Started. But then if you think about it, like, what would Katie need for her van? How can I appeal to her to pick up a 6-pack for her van life? Would it be, you know, could I give her like a power thing for the car, that has my brand on it? Or would it be a special koozie that fits into larger vase-size cup holders? I don't know. I don't know what that might be.
Anyone who listening to this, feel free to send me any of your van life marketing
Maybe
material.
it's a branded solar charger that folds out so that you
Ooh.
have power on the go.
You
Like
can keep feeding them ideas. Just keep going.
I'm just saying, like, so that so that it would meet your needs. So then if it resonates with like a new certain audience that maybe you've never spoken to before. You're like, oh dang, that's great that they love us. Like, what do they do? And I always tell people the best way you can find out is ask them. Just ask them. Run a customer survey, go hang out where they hang out, listen to what they listen to, find out where they get their information from. Look at other products. It doesn't have to be alcohol. How does North Face market? How does
Yeah.
REI market? Like, look at some of those things for influence.
So let's go back to influencer marketing for a second. And I want to hear if you've seen it work, because we have some customers that have done it,
Mhm.
and it's a real weird transaction, because it's like, yo, I got 2 million followers. I'll be in your town within 14 days, right? So it's last minute. Drop me $900 and I'll do 2 posts. And you're just kind of, and it happens so fast, and it happens so. Have you seen influencer marketing work? Or I think it needs more
It needs more development. So
development.
yeah, it does. It's
Does my story resonate with what you've heard?
yeah.
Okay.
And it's very like flash in the pan, like, oh God, I gotta make a decision right now, right?
Right.
It's also hard when I'm not a big fan of starting with people cruising into town and being like, here's this, like Chris, like because of my kids, somebody like if Mr. Beast cruised into town and was like, I want to promote your brewery, I'd be like, oh my God, but like I mean, that's probably
Right.
a bad example because that's like a huge influencer, right? I would say yes in like 2 seconds. Um,
Who wouldn't? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. He doesn't do anything with alcohol, but it's here nor there. So
Yeah.
but I like to tell people start in your backyard first. So get familiar with some of your local influencers first. Not to use like too trendy of a term, but like micro influencers, like maybe start baby steps, right? Somebody who specializes in the Portland market or the Denver market, or maybe for all of Florida, you know what I mean? Or all of, Texas or whatever it is, right? Like start there first, do your homework, just go look at their Instagram account. You know what I mean? Like see what they've done for other products and other brands. Look how many followers they have. Look at their like how much engagement is going on with each of those posts. Is there a lot of likes and shares? Are there comments? Are they starting conversations with people? So you have kind of like some gut checks, like just do a little bit of your homework, right? And also ask them to give you, I just refer to this all the time as like proof of sales. Like
Mhm.
the same way that when you work with like chain accounts and wholesale, they're like, let me see the scan data. Let me see velocity, right? Let me see some sales metrics. It's sort of like an insurance policy. So working with influencers, I would want you to say like, well, can you get me your engagement rate, your
Yep.
follower growth? Can you get me metrics for before and after another campaign that's similar? And if they don't want to do that, that might be a red flag, because usually most influencers are like, sure, they know social metrics like the back of their hand. They're like, yeah, no problem, you know. And a lot of the times, I don't like to start with just a straight payout. I'll say like, well, we're just now getting. This is like some of the first times that we've done this. Would you be willing to trade for a product and maybe some merch and then like a smaller payout just to get started, and then let's
Right.
see how it goes. Let's get the campaign results, and then we can talk about something bigger and graduate from there. Just don't make a quick decision. Quick decisions make me nervous.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
I love the idea. I love that idea of going local. I love the idea of a longer term, almost like campaign with somebody
Mhm.
versus this, I'll be in town, flash in the pan kind of thing. Because those rarely work. Like, what are we trying to accomplish?
It's sort of funny how marketing always, I feel like it always comes full circle. Um, Circling this back to digital advertising strategy. This is what I tell people about digital advertising too, and it goes for my feelings on influencers, and that is you can go tortoise or hare, right? You either have one of two tactics. You can go very quick and get big results, and it's like flash bang, but you're going to pay for it. And it's usually short term, right? So like a burst, and you're shelling out big money for it. Or you can go the tortoise route, which is like more for longer term growth.
Right.
It usually costs less, but it takes more time. That's usually like the organic versus paid kind of situation.
Yeah.
If that helps.
Yeah.
How would someone even begin to know like what a reasonable rate is, or like a contract that would make sense with one of those influencers? Like, how would you even begin to go about that? 'Cause I feel like it's such a new concept. There's not like standardized, to my knowledge. I mean, maybe there is, but I feel like everything
No,
seems
there's
to be
not. And I'll just be bluntly honest with you. Google and Chat GPT.
Yeah.
There's your
there
short
it is,
answer,
folks.
Katie. There it is.
There it is.
I'm not even kidding. Like
Well,
I am
it's
a
a
professional marketer. I'm a marketing consultant. And I mean, all AI really is like crowdsourcing, right? So it's like pinging different corners of the vast interwebs, and it like sources things together. So it's like a Google search on Mountain Dew. You know what I mean? Like all now, is it 100% accurate? No, it's still very young technology, but maybe I want to get to some corners of the internet that would help me sort of formulate like a benchmark, right? There are case studies out there. Definitely pull from case studies. Ask your
yeah.
friends, ask
I,
around, and then
I don't
Google.
think influencer marketing has been around long enough for anybody to say
Hard.
definitively this is what it costs if you have 1 million followers. This is what it
Yeah.
costs you if you have 10 million followers. I mean, to hire Mr. Beast, you're going to spend 4 million bucks for 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's like a Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it
Versus
is.
the local foodie that has, 1.5 million followers. He may be like, yeah, I'll do it for trade and like, give me a $750 gift card and we're good.
Yeah. Like, give me a
Interesting.
gas card for like $500 so I can drive around and take more photos,
Super interesting.
like,
Yeah. I think
no,
it's
you're
so,
right
so
though,
new, Katie.
100%. It's so young that I don't think we really have, Katie, I don't think there's really like definitive, like if this, then that, or at least not yet.
Yeah.
But there probably will be pretty soon, like sooner rather than later, maybe in the next like 1 to 3 years. I would imagine there would be more benchmarks out there. But honestly, I really just internet search the heck out of it
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
because
ask around, like what did you do? What did it look like? All that stuff.
Yeah. A question we get all the time
Mhm.
is how do we know if a campaign was successful?
Dude, this I can give you benchmarks on. Are you excited?
Sure.
ooh,
Julie, you've already
Anybody
dropped
loves a
so many
benchmark.
bombs in this
It's
episode. You
so
dropped
it's
so much knowledge
super.
in this episode. I don't know if it can get any better. This is a really good episode. All right, go.
I've been sitting on this, and I was like, Chris is gonna get so jazzed that I have benchmark numbers for
benchmarks.
campaigns.
We're like on the edge of our seats over here. We at SBS love benchmarks.
Yeah.
I do have some. So, okay, first of all, how do you know what's working, what's not working, right? Again, you got to look at it in two different buckets, organic and paid, right? So like your paid metrics are going to look a little bit different, your organic metrics are going to look a little bit different. But I can say the ultimate thing that you're really looking for, the keyword here is brand awareness metrics. So, brand awareness is basically memorization. How fast can I recall your brand? especially at a time of purchase, right? Like how fast can I remember Chris's Brewery when I'm in the store buying stuff for my barbecue or if I'm out with friends, right? So we're going for recall, brand awareness metrics. So what does that look like? Website traffic. That's number one. Okay, website traffic. Is there a number? No, there's not, but you want it to go up, not down.
Sure.
If it starts to go down, you got to fix something. All right. So that's the easy one. The other thing is brand search. So I'm not talking about you typing in my URL, like, or Katie, like if you were to go to Julie, what's your website? Probably not yourhobbymarketing.com. Instead of doing that, and you can find this through Google Analytics. So if you're not using Google Analytics, you need to get your Tookus over to GA4 and sign up for your free account because it's going to give you all of this good stuff, right? It's free too. It's free.
Yeah.
I'm like screaming at you. It's free. And do you know how many really great tutorials there are for free on YouTube about how to set up Google Analytics? There's so many. The one that I like is this adorable little guy. I forgot his name. It's called Measure School. Just go look it up. It'll tell you everything you need to know. It's free. Did I say that? It's free.
Yeah.
All right. So brand search is going to be when somebody types like Katie's Brewery into Google. Right. So what that measures is that I have recognition of Katie's Brewery already because I saw it somewhere else and I don't already know her website, but I'm looking for her. So that's a measure of like, we're building that, right? The other thing is brand mentions. So did I get tagged on Instagram? Do I have a backlink from a press release, right? Like, did somebody link back to our website? Did I get mentioned on Facebook or did somebody check in at my establishment, right? So brand mentions across all corners of the internet. The other thing is engagement scores, and this is particular with social media. So YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Basically, it's the number, and there's a formula for it. And by the way, there's tons of free calculators online. So just go Google it. You can figure out your engagement score very, very easily for free. It's basically the number of followers that you have and the number of times that they've interacted with you. So yes, likes go into it, but likes are not everything. The goal of social media is interactions. So they want you to start conversations. They want you to ask questions. They want you to respond to DMs. They want you to respond to comments. They want people to share, all that kind of stuff. That's your engagement score. It's a measure of how much people are interacting with your brand on social. The other thing is video engagement. So are people watching your videos? And this is super important because this video is the future of social media marketing. Static photos are going the way of Twitter.
Ah.
Sorry.
Oh my.
Oh my is right.
I know, right? Anyways, that's just me personally. So static photos are fine right now, but in a couple of years, they're probably going to be obsolete. So at least try to go like carousel posts, where you have multiple photos where they have like scrolling, because scrolling counts for engagement. You get points for that. That's great. Like if somebody scrolls, that's awesome. That means your organic reach is actually going to go up because people are interested in it and the algorithm reads that. But video is the ultimate because they want people to watch it. They want people to click on it. They want people to pause it, save it, all that kind of stuff. And it's just more authentic. And if there's anything that younger folks are looking for right now, it's authenticity. And when you talk about video, I am talking unedited, blooper, no branding, not fancy. No, just a video. Pour a beer in the tap room.
What length are we talking? What kind of lengths are we talking here?
15 seconds or less. The shorter, the better. Actually, the benchmark for this ideal time is 12 seconds.
12 seconds.
Wow.
Boom. 12-second videos. There you go.
Chris, we got to get you in front of the camera.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And then the final piece of this is lead generation. So not the number of followers that you have, but the rate at which you're growing. Does that make sense? So like net new lost, you know what I mean? And like how many you're adding. So it doesn't matter if you're a tiny company and you have 20 followers, if you're adding 20 per day, that's awesome. If you're a huge company and you have 2 million followers and you're adding one person a day, that's like, wah, wah, you know, like that's so quality over quantity. Now, I said I was going to give you some benchmarks. I'm going to go back to advertising real quick because this is the number one question that I get from people is how do I know if my ads are working?
Mm.
You want a high click-through rate. It's called CTR, right? That goes for social, PPC, all those buckets that we talked about. You want a low cost per click, less than $1. That's your ideal sweet spot, $1 or less for each click. You want a low frequency that so you don't get ad burnout, right? So like that's the number of times that I've seen the same ad. If you go over 3, nope, scrap it, do something else, change it up, right? So don't go over 3. And those are kind of the 3 big like concrete metrics that I use for this kind of stuff. Oh, social engagement score. If you're over 2-3%, you're doing something awesome. Keep it up. Good job. Below that, you probably have some improvements to make. So
What is this on the social media sites analytics or is this Google Analytics? Like where would you find your social engagement score?
It's really hard to find your engagement score on social media insights because Instagram, it's on the mobile app, but it restricts your time periods. Like you can't go like super historical, right?
Got it.
And then if you go to Meta, that's like a needle in a haystack, right? Like that's so what I tell people is you need a scorecard. You need to track this stuff on a monthly basis because there's not a lot of historical data. So yes, pull it from your phone, but you have to do it in like that current month and then month to month after that. You know what I mean? So you can look at it over time. And you know, the engagement score is a whole bunch of different factors. So just get one of those free calculators from that you can Google, right? And then put that percentage engagement score in your scorecard and track that over time. And then the other things you can put in that scorecard, positive web traffic, positive brand search, you know, video views, are those going up? Clicks, and then you can do frequency, click-through rate, cost per click, all that kind of stuff. Follower growth. Those are all great metrics to toss into a scorecard. And then you have it. And then it's there and it's forward facing, but also historical.
Wow. Julie. My mind's blown. You can't for the listeners, you can't see Julie just did the head blow thing. Katie, is your mind blown?
I'm speechless.
I am too.
I love you guys.
Dude, where can our listeners learn more about you? They already know you. They definitely already know you. If they don't, where can they learn more about you?
I hope so. Go to my website. Just do an organic search
Julie's website.
for not your hobby marketing. Not everything is not your hobby marketing. It's notyourhobbymarketing.com. It's Julie at not your hobby marketing. You know, you can email me. Everything goes straight to me. I'm on the social things. I'm on all the social things, including TikTok. I'm still on Twitter/X. I'm just not on there very often. I'm even on Threads. I'm also on Reddit.
Oh, I like Reddit.
Youngins out there. I really like Reddit, actually. I think it's a cool tool to be like a voice of authority. You know what I mean? Really interesting take for breweries too.
Do you hang out in the craft beer subreddit? Yeah, that one's huge.
I know, it's big. I'm in the cider one too. The cider one's fun.
Oh, I gotta check that one out.
Yeah. I'm also you know, because I'm a consultant with a writing habit, right? Like there's a beer writers subreddit too, which is super fun. That I'll get in there. Yeah, it's awesome.
I want to get in that one.
I know. Look for it. Well, let's see. How did I even find that one? Oh, it's because I'm in the guild. I'm in the North American Guild of Beer Writers. So, which y'all should join. Totally.
I just made a note for myself. So
yeah. It's great. And that's a wonderful space to be in too. There's a lot of mentoring going on in there, which is very cool. But yeah, anybody can ping me anytime. You can, my husband's gonna kill me for saying this. You can slide into my business DMs, not my personal ones, my business ones. If you want to, and my kids would definitely say like, Mom, you're super cringy for saying that. But
That's so
that's
So, question on your organic search, should I not link your website in the show notes? Do you want me to
you
just
should. No. I will take all
Or
the
is that good?
backlinks. We'll have to come back and do a whole episode on SEO and why that's important. But yes,
Yeah.
I will take the backlinks. I absolutely.
Okay, great. I wasn't sure if that was unhelpful. I'm like, we're learning, so I will ask. You can find Julie's links in the show notes.
No, that's wonderful. And if if people, I speak a lot, we talked about this earlier. I speak just as much as you do at conferences. So if you follow me on, any of the social channels, I do updates about where I'm going to be. And if you're local, come find me. Please find me. I'd love to talk to people in person.
I'll come find you, Julie.
Yes, please do.
Awesome.
Sounds great.
Thank you so much for joining us today. This is awesome. I am speechless also. I had a great talk. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This
course.
made my day.
Me too.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the True Craft Podcast. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast player. And if you are just dying to know what Chris and I look like, you can head over to YouTube for a video recording of the show. Links to cool information about our guests and other fun facts can be found in the show notes. This podcast is sponsored by Small Batch Standard, the premier financial agency built to serve the craft brewing industry. We help craft breweries grow profits through outsourced accounting, tax compliance, and growth consulting. Visit sbstandard.com today to learn more and request a discovery call.